Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today, and I was just going over some questions, and I did a video a few weeks ago on the Jed pillar where I mentioned the Dendera light bulb, as it is called by a lot of people, and I thought I would make a video on this. There are a lot of theories out there, and the ancient alien people have said this is obviously an ancient power source, an ancient light bulb. It looks like a light bulb, it looks like cords plugged into maybe a power source, the Jed pillar. But I thought I would make a video on this, and let's let the ancient Egyptians tell us exactly what this is. Now, first of all, this snake, this isn't a filament or a coil for the light. What is this exactly? What does this snake represent? Well, each room at the temple of Dendera, the Hathor temple, is dedicated to a different festival or a day of the year, or a different representation of the year celebration based on the movement of the heavens. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. And what is this snake? Let's go to a video here that I made about a year ago, and this comes from the Hathor temple. And this is the god represented in this room, this one specific room, and this is Har-Sema-Tawe, an old Egyptian god from the Old Kingdom. And then it was later given more importance in the New Kingdom era. And by the Greeks it was called Harsamptus. And this is how, just a version of Horus, many different versions of Horus, but here is Horus with the sun disk over his head. But this god is also represented as a snake, and here, right next to him, that's what the Egyptians say, and you notice he is in a solar boat. You see the boat clearly. This is the same god here. So I think, obviously, this is the same god represented here. And it emerges from a lotus flower. Now what does the lotus flower do at the beginning of the day? At dawn, it opens up. So here is the god, this version of Horus, emerging from the lotus at the beginning of the day. And here is the Jed pillar. And when it's tilted, I said in my Jed pillar video, it just represents different positions across the movement of the sky on its daily or nightly journey. And it says this god is being held up by his Ka. The noble snake is being held up by his Ka, and I said it's a representation of Orion, so the Ka, that fits perfectly. And this light bulb, what is this light bulb? Well, the ancient Egyptians have a hieroglyph for this, and here it is right here. This means the sanctuary of the sun, or the birthplace of the sun. So, not a glass light bulb. This is a representation of the sanctuary of the sky. That's what the ancient Egyptians seem to tell us. And in a room right near here, I should mention, there is a room dedicated to the day of the child in his nest. And it all has to do with the birth of the sun and a version of Horus. So we clearly have the movement of the sun across the sky, and this god, Har-Sema-Tawe, is the noble lord of two lands. And I just think this represents the celebration of the new sun, the journey of the new sun across the sky. That seems to be what this god represents. And maybe the sun, being born on, what would that be, 3 days after the winter solstice. That would be December 25th, the journey of the new sun across the sky. And Orion in ancient times, where the sun rose, it seemed like Orion was holding up the sun, so maybe that is why they put this in here. And I just think this all fits together, and you notice they are in a boat. And whenever you have a solar bark, and it says a solar bark right on the hieroglyphs up here, that is a journey across the sky. This god, this representation of Horus, represented as a snake inside of what is represented as the birthplace of the sun, the sanctuary of the sun, emerging from the lotus flower that opens up at dawn. This is a representation of this god, who is a representation of the new sun's journey across the sky, I think. I don't have a lot of time to go into this, but this is the best way I can explain this. Held up by his Ka, represented by the Jed pillar, and that's Orion. I think that is what this tells us. This is not an ancient light bulb. We shouldn't look at things through our modern eyes. That's not the way to decipher history. What you do is you look at what the ancient Egyptians actually told us this was. Hope you thought this was interesting, and you all have a very nice day.